Hi, my name's Tiara Menifee. This is my module two for my applied programming class. I'm just going to show you what I did. I developed a program in R to perform a linear regression analysis on my Cowboy database. In my module one, I learned the SQL language, and I created a Cowboys database on a bet for my husband. Um, I just used the same database because it had a bunch of data and I just added to it, and I thought it would be perfect and no reason to create a whole separate database for this project. So the project really just focusing on investigating whether there's a correlation between the passing attempts and total passing yards for the Cowboys quarterback, Dax Prescott. The goal of this project was to strengthen my understanding of the R syntax, data manipulation, and the statistical modeling while applying these concepts from real world databases I can create that I created earlier by integrating my previous built database with R's analysis capabilities. I was able to visualize trends, evaluate modules, accuracy, and gain insight into players' performance and regression. So up here, I started out by loading our libraries, which is the DBI and the RSQLite. Um, those are what connects my SQLite database, my R to my SQLite database, and then this ggplot too. This helps me create a chart. So a chart later, which I will show. Um, then right here, this is the connect and fetch connection to the database called Cowboys Database Stats, which the database I had created in my last project. Again, when I had turned that project in, I think I only had the four, if I remember correctly, was the Eagles, Giants, Bears, and Jets. I added one more, and that was the Panthers. And so when I started creating that, it was up to date. When I turn this in, it's not up to date. So, but anyways, it runs the SQL to get Dax Prescott's game data, which is the week, the opponent, and then the passing attempts and the passing yards. So you can tell right here. Then it closes the connection to return the data as a data frame. So that's this right here in this. Once the data is loaded, the script prints the data frame and lists the column names. And this helps you see the information that you're working on down here. Um, Next, we analyze the performance function. It's a linear regression of how Dax Prescott's yards relate to his passing attempts. This trend also makes a scatter plot right here on the right hand side. The blue dots are the games, and the red line shows the trend. So this gives us a quick visual of how consistent Dak Shepard performs across the season. Again, I had to add the last week's game stats into my SQL database um, to show on here. The results show that Dak Prescott throws more passes. His total yards normally go up about 5.5 extra yards per passing attempt. The model explains that about 60% of the changes in his passing yards, but the p-value is 0.07, which means that the connection isn't strong enough to feel fully confident in the data. And that's due because a small amount of data that I have in my database. And so I think that this probably would have been more perfect to do in the later half of the season or when the season ended to show a whole year, the football season year within this data to give us a more accurate information and more accurate a visual so that the data could be more fully confident. But wasn't in the time span that I had needed. And all of that coding comes into right here. Then at the bottom this is the function that runs the program right here. When the analysis is done, the script saves the data into a CSV file. I called that the Dak Prescott 2025 stats, CVS, which can be used to continue the analysis in the later half of the weeks as the weeks go on. I'm actually looking forward to doing this every week to update to see the correlation and see the visual of the scatter plot. I want to see it be more confident in that way. And so I learned a lot from this. The R language can be pretty hard to learn. So I'm grateful that they have a bunch of resources and some courses that I could have that I had taken to learn. So it was overall a good week, and I have nothing to complain about. Yeah.